Watch this shit right
Oh,
here.
wait a minute. Now he's coming in, I think. I think I can hear you now, Devon.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, just can't see you. That may be for the best.
Hold on. As long as I don't see Teddy Long, I'm okay.
You did listen, bitch. I'm just waiting to see you so I can straighten you out.
You see, you set me up.
Yeah, we still don't see you, brother.
Yeah, why don't you get to let that man get out of the room? I don't care. I ain't jealous. Okay, you can show us. That's why you were late getting in contact with us. Just, you
There
don't
he
leave your
is.
prostitution duties alone.
Okay. Hey, this is a great way to start the show. What the hell? I'm not even going to get into the big introductions here, other than say welcome.
You don't need no introduction. I'm talking to my fiance. We don't need no introduction.
Devon,
what is wrong with you, man?
Ain't nothing. Oh, there my baby.
Oh.
Yes, she will. Let me make a pose too. Right? You see that shirt? Look at that. I can do just like that shirt. I can pose too. Look at that.
If you can't tell already, this is Road Trip After Hours. I'm your host, Mac Davis. That's WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and our special guest today.
No. Let me introduce her.
Okay, let me say one thing, though, and you take over after that. This is our very first two-time guest. Go ahead, Teddy.
Yes, let me introduce my fiance. We were married, then we got divorced. And since we have been divorced, we've had a chance to talk back and forth with each other, and we finally decided to reconcile. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, it's my fiance and soon to be wed, Diane Dudley, better known as Devon.
Devon, welcome to the show.
You know, some of your people that you have on your show, they need Jesus, and he's one of them.
I don't need Jesus. I need you.
You need to stay away from me.
Devon, it's great to have you back on for this. As I mentioned just a moment ago, you're the first two-time guest on Road Trip After Hours, and I saw that you had a new YouTube channel that you were breaking loose, and I was like, I got to call Devon. Let's see if he wants to talk about it. You said yes, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, so, I'm very excited about it. I really didn't have any aspirations in actually doing anything like that. I was at a signing, and a gentleman came up to me, and he was like, hey, you ever think about doing a YouTube channel? So, I get approached a lot about doing stuff like that or whatever business deal, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. And he was like, no, I'm serious. I was like, okay, man, give me a card, and we'll talk. So he walked away from me, and something just said, you know what? This could probably be legit. It could probably be something that's real. Why not take him up on the offer? Sometimes you'll get 1,000 offers, but that 1,001 is the one that does it for you.
Yep.
So I said, what the hell? I said, let me try it out and see what happens. And they were legit. They came down to my place, and they had the microphones, they had all the setup and everything. And it was actually legit. They came up with the content and everything. It was actually very professional.
And Devon, the other thing too, let me mention that the way you really kind of find out, I mean, you're not do no better than anybody, but they're all crooks. But the way that you really know that he was legit, he didn't stand there and kept on trying to talk to you and ask you a whole bunch of questions. Right. He gave you his information and he walked on about his business. Okay, so that let you know right there, hey, you thought about it. You said, well, this guy, he ain't bugging me and nothing, and so there you go.
Yeah, it was like one of those things, because usually they'll sit there and they'll be like, I can do this, do that. And they start giving their resume right there. And they're full of shit. Especially with some of the things that they're saying when we've been in the business long enough to know somebody who's false and who isn't. So it's like, okay. And like you said, he sat there, he gave me his information. He was like, yeah, get in touch with me if you're really interested. We would love to do it and this and that. And like I said, they came down and we did it at the wrestling school. And it looked like it looked like a studio.
Yeah.
The way, the video came out, it looked like a studio. So we basically did that and it came off really good. I was very good. We did about 5 episodes.
Now, I watched one this afternoon. I believe this may be one of the first ones you released, which was you and Maven.
Maven, yep.
Fantastic video. I watched, in fact, you talked about a couple of spots in there where you were asked, you want to go up there and practice this spot? And your answer was?
Nope.
Nope. And that was in some of those TLC matches. And when you said that, I started laughing because I've done some stuff in independent wrestling, and they always would ask me, "Do you want to try the spot out?" I may never have done that spot before. No, I'll just go with it when it's time. And I just cracked up because I knew exactly what you were talking about.
You know, Jimmy Snuka, they said when he was selling out Madison Square Garden with Roddy Piper, sometimes he wouldn't show up at the shows, you know. And the one time that everybody from back in the day seemed to have the same story, and they tell it to a T, where he sold out Madison Square Garden. The line is around the corner trying to get into the garden to see him and Piper go at it. They said the limo pulled up. He looked at the marquee. It said main event, Roddy Piper and Jimmy Superfly Snuka. He looked at the limo driver. He goes, "Brother, this is the garden." "Yes, sir, Mr. Snuka." "Not today, brother. Go back to the hotel." Not today. And no one showed Madison Square Garden. I'm like, who
Wow.
the hell does that but Jimmy Snuka?
Let me ask you,
And that to me, that was me telling him nope. And I'll be honest with you, I was very nice on the video. I didn't say no. I went, Bubba, fuck no.
yeah, 'cause I heard somewhere in an interview before I saw that video where you had discussed that with somewhere else, and you had kind of said that Bubba at the last minute said, "Devon, that's your spot," and you're like, "Oh hell no, it's not." So,
Yeah, no,
no.
nope.
When it came to your matches and some of the layouts of what we saw with you and the Hardys and everyone else, who was the mastermind behind that? Was Bubba heavily involved in the layout of those shows? I mean, of those
Well,
matches?
we all were, but the main person was Michael Hayes. Be honest with you, because he
Really?
was our producer for just about every one of our TLC matches, our Raw and SmackDown matches. He was the guy. So you know, he would come with us, and Vince, you know, Vince knew that when a certain producer would click, and Teddy can can testify to this. When there was a certain producer that clicked with talent, Vince would keep that producer with that talent.
Smart.
So to have the Dudleys and the Hardys and Edge and Christian all together, to have that one guy, Michael Hayes, be able to work with us and to be able to create chemistry with all of us, that was great, you know. And we just hit a home run every single time. We
And
all
you,
had we all had the input with what we wanted in the matches and everything. So it wasn't just one of us basically that was instrumental in putting everything together. It was all of us as a collective unit. We all did it.
How did you end up now? When you talk about some of these big matches, all the high spots in some of these matches involved you, and you did not care for heights whatsoever. So, how did it end up that you were the one taking those spots?
Well, a lot of times, yes, and I was afraid of it, but at the same token, you know, when the adrenaline is rushing through your body, and I think mentally I knew this, even though I was afraid of going up, whether it be the top rope or hanging with Jeff 25 to 30 feet up in the air, I knew once we started proceeding to the spot, and whether it would be climbing up a ladder or what have you, I was pretty much able to overcome that fear. Because number one, I got Vince McMahon watching in the go position, which is the
Yep.
gorilla. And you know you better do right. That's one. And two, you know, you're in front of the crowd, so you don't want to look like an idiot, you know,
No.
because you're scared to go up the ladder and, you know, you can't, you know, be scared, so you got to go. So I think that was one of the reasons why I was able to do all of that, was because I just knew I put myself in that in that predicament where if I go out there, I got no other choice but to do it.
and the worst thing you can do is to let Vince know that you're scared or you don't want to do something. That's the worst thing you could ever do.
You don't ever tell Vince that.
No,
Well,
you
you
Never.
don't tell the guys you're working with that either, because won't they give you? I mean, won't they put you in that position every time if you're
oh, they'll
selling?
they'll stooge you right off.
Right off. But you know,
They'll go straight to Vince and tell him. They'll stooge it right off.
listen, I will.
Uh-oh, we lost Devon.
Well, he may have got cut off. I'm sure he'll join us back.
Yeah, he'll join us back in. I tell you what, while we're talking about that, I do want to remind you that he has a great YouTube channel. I was going to show this earlier, and I'll show it now if I can get it up on the screen, and we'll probably try to bring that in a little bit better for you. Ah, hell. Yeah. I'll put it up on the screen, but this is his YouTube channel, and it does have a big subscribe bar. When you go there, hit that subscribe button on his channel. That's where you'll find this fantastic content that we've been talking about. As a matter of fact, the YouTube videos just started today as we're recording this, and Devon coming back into the room right now. But again, it just began today. I've seen the first video. I'm wanting to check out the second one now because the first one was so damn good. Devon, welcome back to the show, man.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Oh,
my kids are calling.
That must have been one of your clients. You got to tell them clients that you are working. You do not have time. Okay?
You know what? I'm gonna pray for you. You know,
you need to.
I'm gonna pray. Normally I would say lay my hands on you to get the demons out, but I ain't put my hands anywhere near you.
You're a demon too.
Devon, most people know you as the tag team partner with Bully Ray or Bubba. Were there ever times, because I would imagine with you being on the road with him and having to work with him night after night, that's family and brother. There's got to be times when the tensions kind of get built up and you two just don't get along. Were there moments like that?
Oh, absolutely. But I think that's with every tag team. Look, Animal and Hawk, the Midnight Express, the Rock and Roll Express. I mean, you name it. Telly and On. Prime examples. We hear stories. We now, because of social media, we hear stories about those two, how sometimes they couldn't stand each other. Oh, yeah. But it was never a fact of him and I hating each other. Did we not get along sometimes? Yes, because of the fact that we were under each other so much.
Yes,
that happens when you see somebody. Listen, you could be married for 20-something years. Eventually, that spouse is going to be very tired because
your wife must not be home.
Listen, I look at it this way. I know what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. I keep my mouth shut.
I understand.
But you got to know that in that aspect, when you're around somebody so much, it's just like you need a break sometimes. You need to, step away for a few, and then it's not. So there's been many times when it's like that. I'm sure he would say the same thing about me.
Oh yeah.
But that's just life. That's how it goes.
Tell everybody again about your YouTube channel, what we can expect there, and I know that the second video, when's it coming out? That's something I do want to know.
Yeah, the second video will be out next week.
Okay.
It'll be out next Thursday. Probably a little earlier than that. I got to check on that, but it'll be on my Instagram when the new one is coming out. We'll definitely start promoting that, and I'm excited about it. We're going to try to tap into not only things that happened in my career more, certain incidents that might have happened, me going to wrestler's court, almost going to wrestler's court, I should say. I know Teddy knows about wrestler's court.
Yes.
I got convicted.
Yeah. We're going to try to tap in, like, even family life, the kids, just everything, people seeing me outside of getting tables and out of the WWE, see a family man, walking. So it's kind of like the YouTube channel with wrestling / family. It's like a reality show type of deal.
Well, I got to tell you, I do follow what you do on social media. I see you all the time with the kids or with the wife or the family somewhere all the time. Mm-hmm. Is there a part of you that would surprise a lot of people that we don't know about you?
Oh, I can answer that.
Oh, God.
Right up.
I can answer that right there. If y'all need to know something about him that you don't know,
so you set me up for
that. I couldn't resist. All right. If you want to find him on YouTube, do so. As I mentioned a little while ago, the first video is fantastic. It's got Maven on it. And the second video will be the second half of that sit-down interview, correct?
Correct. And we're going to be doing more. We're going to do a lot more stuff with Maven. Because we all know Maven has a YouTube channel that's very, very successful. And I'm hoping to get to his level. Yes. That's what we're praying for. So we're going to try to do a lot of interesting things coming on that YouTube channel. We're going to put our heads together and make sure that it doesn't go stale or flat and that it keeps the people's interest.
Well, all y'all got to do is on that third episode is have me on there. I'm going to be on there and I'll be wearing spandex. Okay, I mean the latest spandex, the real tight ones. I'll be wearing those.
Listen, I seen Teddy in shorts, and it ain't the prettiest thing in the
No, it's
world. I'm
not.
gonna tell
I
you
have
that
to.
right
It's
now.
not pretty. Hey,
You rub those legs together, you could start a fire.
It's like it's like a skeleton in real life. You met a real skeleton. Oh, aren't you supposed to be dead?
with a cranky attitude. He gets crankier the older he gets, too, Devon.
Oh well, he's always been cranky.
Yeah, well, that's what I've heard. So, hey, let me ask you one quick question before I get you out of here. I'm curious, money aside, your entire career, WWE or ECW, where, if you had a chance to go back and relive, let's say, like a 5-year period, where would you go back?
I would say the first 4 years of WWE. Don't get me wrong, I loved ECW. It was great, but it was the beginning of everything. Social media wasn't out. The money wasn't really there at that point.
Yep.
So we weren't on superstar status at that point. Although ECW, I will always say, was my first home. It was the place where I learned so much. But the WWE, when we got there during the Attitude Era, on fire, unbelievable. I had never witnessed anything like that before in my life, and to this day I haven't witnessed anything like that before. How healthy I was in terms of body wise, I wasn't hurting. Everything was strong. I had no fear of anything, and I would take a bump and would not know what would happen if I went the wrong way on a bump.
Oh yeah.
Because when you're young, you don't care. You think you're invincible.
Yep.
That is what I would love to do now. Listen, I crossed the street, step 1 foot up on the curb, and wait a minute, nice and easy.
Just stay in that gym and keep moving. That's what Teddy tells me all the time,
That's
brother.
all you have to do. A lot of times when I'm doing cardio or something, I think about Teddy because I know where he was before he got into great shape and, what he did to stay there. There were times we would be out and we would be at the restaurant downstairs at the hotel or what have you. Teddy would come down there. He would get his food, maybe sit down and eat with us. And there'd be a whole thing of bread right there that they gave him. He'd sit there and pour some milk or whatever inside the bread so he wouldn't eat it. And put it to the side.
Hey, that's dedication right there.
Absolutely. I mean, there's stuff like that. So, when you see someone that really doesn't have to work out like that, but they do, that kind of gives you an inspiration to really go out there and to make yourself better because, again, nobody wants to live to 200, but I definitely want to live to 100. Yep. I want to try to at least because, I've got small kids and I've always said this. I don't want to go before they understand what death is. I don't want to go before they understand, why daddy's not here anymore. Yep. Why did God take him away? I want to be able to get my body right, eat right, and to do the right thing and exercise. And exercise is the biggest thing. Yes. Once you retire and stop, it's downhill from there.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't stop.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't stop.
Teddy moves all the time. Every time I call him on the phone or he calls me, he's at the gym doing something. So.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna buy me an elliptical machine now, put it in the house here, so I can make sure the days that I can't make it, if I have to be at home, I can start doing it at home.
Mm-hmm. That's the best thing.
You got to stay alive, man. And here's my motto: all of us, everybody's gonna get that call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one thing we all have in common.
But I cut my phone off.
There you go.
All right. This has been Wrestling's Road Trip After Hours. I'm your host, Mac Davis. That's WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long. And of course, our special guest with a brand new YouTube channel, Devon Dudley. We'll see you again next week.